Hi, it's Nell with Joyous Garden, and today's video is all about choosing succulents to grow indoors and also choosing pots for those succulents to grow in. So stick around for that. First of all, I want to say that I live in an area where succulents are readily available. A lot of nurseries have them. I used to live in Santa Barbara, so I bought lots of succulents. But for you, especially if you are new to the world of succulent gardening, you're probably going to be buying online. So I want to give you some tips for that, and also at the end of this I will give you some tips for buying in person too. So first of all, there are sites online that have categories like low light, indoor, outdoor, indoor succulents. So when buying online, you can look for that. We are doing a video and a post on buying succulents online, places to buy succulents online. I don't think it's going to post before this, but that'll be a reference for you. But for instance, Mountain Crest, Leaf and Clay, Succulent Box, and Altman's all have a category on there that will help you out if you're unsure what to buy for sure. So there are some succulents that are better suited for lower light, and those are the ones that typically do better indoors because most of our homes don't have the light that we do outdoors. So you can look for succulents that grow better in lower light. I just moved into a new home. It's very bright. I have a lot of windows, so I'm just gonna try a lot of different things, but for you, you might just want to stick with the ones that are tried and true for lower light. One other thing I want to mention is low light is not no light when it comes to succulents. They need bright, natural light. Some will do better with a little bit more subdued light, but if you have really low light, ultimately the succulents are not going to grow well. So before I get talking about things to look for when you're buying succulents, because this is hanging out in the front of the box, you're going to go, oh yeah, right now that's full. I got this one this way because I'm going to be propagating it. So that's why this one is so long and leggy. Also, you can do a little research too after you find the plants that you want. You can see how tall they get. Some get tall, like this mini pine here. The Hobbit Jade will get bigger too. As you can see, this Kalanchoe that I'm ultimately going to prune, it gets taller, and that will be a choice. That will be what am I trying to say? The pot choice, the ultimate pot choice will depend on the type of the plant, where something like a living stone here stays very small and very low, so it can stay in a small pot for a very long time. So of course, if you're buying online, you're going to get what they send you, and most places send out good, quality, because they want to keep their reputation up. But if you are going to be buying in person, which I do, I want to give you some tips on that. So you want to check and make sure there's not a lot of dead leaves on the plant, as few broken leaves as possible, because succulents and the leaves on succulents break very easily. You want the plant to be nice and full. It's good if it has multiple stems in one pot. Also check for mealybugs. They're that white cottony insect. Most of them don't, because most of the nurseries keep their stock pretty clean. And you want to see if the plant is nicely formed. So those are some things you want to look for. Also make sure that the soil isn't really sopping wet and really mushy. This tends to happen in places like Home Depot, Lowe's, Trader Joe's, because they pack the plants in and they can be in lower light, because oftentimes a plant that is too wet is not going to dry out. The soil won't ultimately dry out. So I'm going to leave a list in the blog post of lower light succulents for you, but I'll go through just a few here that you might be familiar with. Aloe vera does well indoors. Jade plants do well indoors. Flowering kalanchoes do well indoors. The haworthias do well indoors. They're great houseplants. And of course, that seasonal beauty, the poinsettia. So that's it for plants. As I said, there will be more information in the blog post for you. So now we're on to pots. And almost anything goes with succulents and pots. A lot of succulents stay really small, so small pots are just fine. Most can grow slightly tight in their pots too. You can do something long and low for a grouping of succulents. Some of these don't have drain holes, and that can be a little tricky. I'm doing a separate video on that about how to plant and maintain that, but you can do it. It just takes a certain type of maintenance to keep it going. One thing I will say, if you use a taller pot, just be sure to mind the watering, because with this much soil mass, it can stay a bit on the wetter side, and succulents mush out really fast because their leaves, their stems, and their roots are full of water. So just watch out for that. So one of my favorite looks for succulents is anything terracotta. I think that succulents look great in terracotta, so that's a really fun look. So if you're unsure, you can just Google pots for succulents, and a lot of things will pop up for you. So that is it on the plants and the pots. I'm going to be planting most of these ultimately into these pots, so stay tuned for that later on down the line. I hope you have found this video to be helpful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more gardening videos. So let's get into our gardens, our indoor succulent gardens, and make our worlds a more beautiful place. As always, I thank you so much for watching. Bye.